Hello, listeners. This is the NPG Podcast.
Who's going to go next?
I want to go next because I'm still sober.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes. And when I start to, fully get inebriated, I think I really want to go into Steven's topic, which would be a blast.
Okay.
4 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm worried about. So, my topic is... Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Hat.
Annoying shit rats?
I just wish I could talk so I could tell you shut the fuck up. No, so my topic is the silent protagonist and how important I feel it is to this world, or not to this world, but to my world, to have a silent protagonist. Are you guys for or against silent protagonists?
We're talking about video game then.
Oh yeah, we're talking about video games because in movies it really isn't useful. I know we got that one movie coming out that fully POV movie.
That's that already.
Talking about Hardcore Henry?
Yeah, that one. Is that going to be
That's
silent
out, yeah.
protagonist?
I don't know.
I don't think he talks at all. I did see it. It's on Showbox. It's out.
But yeah, that's. I mean, other than movies, I can't really see another time where a silent protagonist would be useful unless you're reading.
Yeah, really. Interactive media is kind of required.
So yeah, well, are you guys for or against it? Do you prefer characters that speak or not?
If it aids in the story, yes.
Okay.
Like BioShock, for example.
The character didn't speak in BioShock, but let's continue.
Oh, the protagonist. No, wait a minute.
Yeah, protagonist, not the antagonist.
The antagonist is the bad guy.
The antagonist is the bad guy.
The protagonist is the good guy, the guy you're playing as.
That's right, Mr. Writer. Jesus Christ, for so many years.
But I just said BioShock. He doesn't talk in the original BioShock.
Right, he doesn't.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were saying that it aids in the story for them to talk like when they do in BioShock.
No.
He does speak in the very beginning before his plane crashes. But through the rest of the goddamn game, he doesn't say a word. So
right, when you start making choices and I think the idea beyond the silent protag is to help you feel more connected with the character, right?
Right, and I completely agree with that. Steven, are you for it or against it?
I
mean, not for or against, but do you prefer games that have silent protagonists? I know you probably prefer silent protagonists because you're a Chrono Trigger fan.
Well, yes, that was my first. No, actually, not my first. Sorry, Legend of Zelda would have been my first. Actually, fucking everything would have been my first. But yeah, Chrono Trigger, of course, silent protag, Chrono, our good friend. However, being a voice acting whore, I love hearing characters talk, main characters.
I still think there's a great deal of use for those people.
Yeah, Final Fantasy X.
Are we at the point now, like, for example, I mean, Legend of Zelda, will Link ever have a voice?
I hope
you know
not.
What? Okay, you know what? Even as a silent protagonist, he still has expressions, so if it is an argument of putting yourself in the character's shoes, he still gives you his for you.
You're right.
He still makes those noises.
He does. But, I mean, you could almost argue with that same philosophy that the main character from Witcher 3 is, in a way, silent protagonist because he uses no facial expressions. He speaks, and it's very blunt and to the point, but he doesn't really have any facial expressions. And with that, it puts you more in control of the character. If somebody came up to you and said, help me save my family, you as the character have no moral obligation to go save them or not. It doesn't really matter to you. But if you were Link and he was like, like he was shocked. Oh my God, how such a horrible thing could happen? You feel almost obligated to go save the family.
Well, the thing with that is that, like, Legend of Zelda is a kind of linear in that way. Like,
You're
it's
right,
not,
yeah,
it's not like
right.
Witcher or Fallout where you can decide, yeah, fuck you, I ain't helping your ass. Fallout 3 though was a prime example. You're supposed to become this vault dweller. And you can design them after yourself, and they never say a word that you don't tell them to.
Exactly. And that's the thing that brought me to this topic to begin with. Playing Fallout 4. Oh, sorry.
I was kind of disappointed, actually, to find out, as much as I love spoken Protagonist, I was kind of disappointed to find out that they actually had, like, voice acting and main talking for Fallout 4 anyways. Just 'cause it was kind of so weird.
So I love it when other characters interact with you.
Well, yeah.
But I like it when you have more control in that. And if you look at Fallout 4, one of the biggest problems with it is the fact that you are kind of forced down a good path.
That's the thing. Like,
Whereas
sure,
another-
you can pick a snotty response and be like, haha, silly you. But yeah, here you go. Here's the money you wanted.
Right.
Well, see, going by what I'm listening, what you guys are talking about, Silent Protagonist for me is fine in the Elder Scrolls Fallout situation.
Okay.
Overall. Because, like you said, with those games, you can be good or bad or neutral, whatever the case may be. The thing with, like, Half-Life is, I'm not 100% sure if it would have been a worse or better game if Gordon Freeman talked. Because it's linear.
I would argue that point 100-fold.
well.
No, I'll argue that completely. Imagine, if you will, and don't say a word on it. I just want you to picture it. I want our listeners to picture it too. Imagine you were at a barbecue and Gordon Freeman came in and you're like, hey, oh, you're Gordon Freeman. I've heard a lot about you. And you struck up a conversation with Gordon Freeman. Just in your head right now, how do you picture him? Just sounding. And I think most people, maybe this is just my own introspective being projected out there, but I think most people would find Gordon Freeman to be somebody they can get along with because they put themselves in that shoe. And they projected themselves into Gordon Freeman so much that it is themselves. Gordon Freeman is a perfect blank slate. A wonderful word is tabula rasa. You guys have sure have heard that at some point in time. It's blank slate, and that's what these silent protagonists are. And that's what Gordon Freeman is he's a tabula rasa. He's a blank slate that you fill. The people around you interact, but another thing about tabula rasa is that you are not only a blank slate, but it's nature versus, or it's your surroundings that affect you as a person and make you who you are. So, and that's a perfect example of these kind of games where silent protagonists are your avatar, as it were. Because it's what you do and how you interact with the surroundings that make that character who it is. We all have evil playthroughs, or we love the idea of an evil playthrough. But when we do it, it's because a part of us has that little bit of evil inside of us, and we're just, venting it in a video game form. And it's kind of good and refreshing to do that kind of thing because you're like, oh, wow, this is what I would have been if I was bad. Good thing I'm not bad because the whole world is on fire. You guys can chime in, or are you?
I don't know. I mean, I see where you're coming from, and other people use that point too. And I'm not disagreeing with it, but in a case like that, I don't know. Like the thing with BioShock, even though first person shooter, you're still paving the way to a certain ending, depending on what you do. Same thing with Fallout, or I shouldn't say ending, well, not necessarily the ending, but like everything else around you is kind of shaping.
You're right.
Whereas like Half-Life, and once again, I'm not dissing on Half-Life. I want to make that perfectly clear. When Half-Life 3 comes out, I'm going to be on that, and you won't hear from me until it's done. But like with Gordon Freeman though, there's people are talking to you, yes, but you're not doing good or bad things. You're just doing what you're supposed to be doing. And once again, I'm not saying that's bad or good, but I guess in my mind, and I could be completely off. I mean, I'm not trying to argue the point, but I just don't know if it would have been that much better or worse of a game one way or the other.
All right. So this is, again, the reason why I'm bringing this up completely is because of my hours of Fallout 4. And I've been playing a lot of the gameplay where I'm not talking to anybody. I'm going around doing my own thing. And if that involves killing innocent people, it might happen sometimes because they get caught in the crossfire. And I'm okay with that because that's the kind of person I am in this game, and that's the kind of the character I project in this. But I've come come across a couple times where I've had to interact with other people, and whenever my character speaks on my behalf, I feel almost betrayed, or I feel like I'm almost betraying the character because I'm not playing it to the character that he is. He's not saying the words I would say the way I would say it. He's saying it with more of a conscience, more of a soul. And that's just this game. I think that would be the case in a lot of games. To me, to have full immersion in a game, to really feel like I'm part of it, a silent character is pivotal. Because I want to interact with the world. I don't want to watch somebody else interact with the world because that's no different than watching a movie. And one of the greatest examples I have for that is, Dead Space. I got so sucked into Dead Space playing that game that at one point my dog dropped a bone on the hardwood floor and I jumped straight out of my fucking seat. Nothing was going on in the screen, but I was so into my character. Whereas when I play a game that already has a character's fleshed out for me, then I'm not feeling like I'm in control. I'm feeling like I'm just controlling someone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it also too depends on what kind of story you're trying to tell. Like the difference between like BioShock and Infinite is that Infinite, you have someone that you're relying on with you. And if a silent protagonist wasn't talking to this other person the entire time, it would just be more awkward. So I think it just really depends on what you're
BioShock 2. You don't talk to the little sister at all. But they're relying
I'm not
on
saying
you.
that, but in BioShock Infinite, you do have a voice and you are talking to someone the entire time.
Right.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. BioShock 2 Infinite is a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel as heavily connected to that one as I do 1.
Right.
But then again, he isn't really speaking a shit ton, but he does speak quite a bit. And
right.
That also kind of brings me back to The Witcher. The things that he talks about in the game are, what's the right word for this? Non-partisan? They're not really filled with character depth because that makes you fill those gaps for him.
Gotcha.
And he does have character depth when it comes to the female character, but throughout the rest of the game,
yeah, he does.
Yeah. But throughout the rest of the game, it's not so much. And you can get really attached to these kind of characters. Like look at Little Big Planet.
Mm-hmm.
You are the sack boy. That is a true blank slate right there. The sack boy. You can create and make him whatever you want. And you can make him angry, happy at the flip of a switch or flip of a thumbstick. Which makes that so much more fun in like a party setting. Jackson Daxter. I thought the first game was fantastic. I really felt like I was part of the character. But then when the second one came out and he goes all fucking aggro in that game, and you're just like, whoa, dude, I was in Happy Land with you. Now you're fucking going crazy on me. So I think it. Yeah, I agree. In the right place, it's a good thing to have. But I think it takes away when it's unnecessarily put in. Such as Jax 2. That's a good example of where it wasn't needed.
Now, but the thing is, though, going on that point, is that just because it progressed? It was a game that just progressed to that point, or I mean,
well, Zelda didn't progress.
Like a lot of the earlier games didn't have voices, right? But as time went on, they added the voices because they could. They had the space to do it now on CDs, DVDs, whatever the case may be. But you're saying, like, did you ever play any other Jak and Daxters, like 3 or whatever the last one was?
Yeah, I played 3.
And so you think that if he didn't have a voice through the entire series, based on what they were doing with the story, that would still make sense?
Yeah, I do. Because the other characters around you are the ones that mold the story.
Okay.
Not you. You mold it by your actions. Your actions speak louder than any words could. Depending on how you interact with the world. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think a character needs to speak in a game. And, of course, we have some very memorable people. I mean, Jesus Christ, I can hear Marcus Phoenix from a mile away.
Right.
Hear him. And those kind of characters are great to have. But
I guess another question I want to throw out there is that because, do you like Marcus Phoenix because that's what you're used to and that's how you identify with him? Because, with the voice? Because, like, my question is, if Gears of War, Marcus Phoenix didn't have a voice, and in Gears of War 2 he had a voice, would you still feel the same way about Marcus Phoenix not having a voice? Would you like that?
I would rather he not have a voice because that's what I got into, and I've already invested my time into this character and feeling like I am that character. And then when he starts to talk, I feel robbed. Such as, like, again, with Jackson Daxter, because that's the first time I can really relate to that. I can also put it into things like Metroid, when she started talking.
That kind of weirded me out.
Yeah, that was fucking, it weirded a lot of people out.
Yeah.
And even Mario did it the perfect way. He just said,
Just sound bites.
he just said, "It's me," or "Wahoo," and that's it. You're done.
It's kind of like going the Link approach where you just got like little tiny things.
Right, exactly.
Like
And
Charles Martinet gets to do his thing, but still not heavily flesh out this character.
You're right. But, and when I look back in time and I look at the original Legend of Zelda, I felt like I was that character. And I was a kid too. So, I mean, it was different. But when I played Ocarina of Time and I started hearing the hut, it kind of took me away from the character and it actually added a sense of depth for him. But it was very light. Like we were talking about Mario, it's very light. So it made his own character, and which is good for his series. But it did kind of take me away from the true immersion of that character ever again.
All right. Steven, anything to add?
Rah, rah, rah.
Okay, there you go.
No, seriously though. I am not the kind of person who gets too heavily immersed in video games. And I'm the kind of person who likes to watch my games more so than actually play them. Yes, I like to watch.
Yeah. And then you said play them. I was like, oh.
You guys remember Prozac?
Yeah, of course.
Shake it if you got it.
Are we going into your topic
Here's
now?
my confession. I like to watch your hot box.
I'm a bastard. It's true. What you did to me is what I did to you.
No, but I'm the kind of person who likes to watch my games. And if there's an option for difficulty level, I'm like, fuck, easy. Just I don't want to have to fucking think too much about this. So I like my shit handed to me. So to that end, I would prefer a voice protag.
Okay.
Because it's all like the character's there, and I'm watching this character do the thing, like Titus or Titus.
Titus.
I prefer
Oh dear God, don't do that. No.
Oh,
That's
wow,
so-
that was
all right.
my first voice acted video game. No, I'm sorry. That is not true.
No.
Star Wars, fucking whatever it was. Shit.
Good topic, Matt.
The one with the thing. Yes.
I hope it was a good topic. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's my own personal.
That's different. And we like that here.